This is the QTV Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM, and I am Jul Denjai. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. The Center for Policy, Research and Strategic Studies, CEPRAS, in partnership with the National Endowment for Democracy, has released its latest national opinion poll on public perceptions of democracy and governance ahead of the country's December 2026 presidential election. The World Food Programme and the Gambia governments and Japan launched an emergency response initiative to safeguard the food and nutrition security of the Gambia's most vulnerable populations. The British High Commission in the Gambia, in partnership with GAIPA, today held a press engagement ahead of the first ever UK-Gambia trade mission scheduled for next month. And in international news, Rwanda has launched an international arbitration case against the United Kingdom, claiming it owed £100 million under a now-cancelled asylum resettlement agreement. And in sports news, in the aftermath of dramatic Africa Cup of Nations final, African football's governing body, CAF, has handed down significant sanctions to both Senegal and Morocco. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Thank you very much for staying with us. If you're just tuning in, this is the QTV News. Now, the Center for Policy, Research and Strategic Studies, CEPRAS, in partnership with the National Endowment for Democracy, has released its latest national opinion poll on public perceptions of democracy and governance ahead of the country's December 2026 presidential election. The survey indicates that the president's National People's Party-led alliance is likely to win. Usman Jatta has the details.
With barely 11 months to go before Gambians head to the polls on December 5th, 2026, anticipation is building across the country. A new national opinion poll by CEPRAS gives an insight into voter intentions, possible electoral performance, integrity, and broader democratic trends. Dr. Lamin B. Jame is the executive director of CEPRAS.
Perception studies are not about politics or partisans, but they are about listening to citizens. They help us to understand how Gambians perceive democracy and governance, level of trust in institutions, public confidence in elections, and citizens' priorities ahead of critical national moments.
CEPRAS is an independent, non-partisan policy research institution established to generate credible evidence for informed public debate, democratic governance, and institutional development. The study is based on a nationally representative household survey of 1,245 eligible voters across all local government areas, reflecting gender, age, education, and geography. Researchers conducted face-to-face interviews using digital tools following rigorous training, piloting, and quality assurance. On the state of democracy, the survey finds Gambians remain politically engaged and aware of democratic issues. However, dissatisfaction with governance outcomes is growing, especially among urban, educated, and working age groups. Democratic consolidation is seen as incomplete, with unmet expectations since the 2016 transition. A majority say a potential third-term beat by the incumbent president would weaken democracy. Rural views are more mixed, but there is a national concern about democratic backsliding. On electoral integrity, many respondents strongly support strengthening the IEC's independence, banning or sanctioning vote buying, enforcing presidential term limits, and improving campaign finance transparency to ensure a level playing field. Mustafa Jabate, a senior project member of CEPRAS, shared the details of the election outcome based on the survey.
Nearly half of the people think that the NPP alliance it's going to win, compared to 20%, so 46% for the NPP alliance. Then the UDP, 20% thinks UDP is going to win.
However, given the competitive nature of the 2026 race, the survey reveals that the incumbent's advantage exists but is not assured amid opinion headways and performance concerns. The survey highlights a significant share of undecided voters more prevalent among urban, younger and educated groups, forming a critical swing constituency in 2026. It also finds that coalition building will be pivotal as no single formation dominates nationally. Overall, the survey reveals that the electorate is informed, engaged and demanding. The incumbent advantage, the study notes, is conditional on the economy, anti-corruption efforts, reforms, national unity and electoral credibility, a sign of competitive race ahead. Yusufa F.J. Damfa, a project team member of CEPRAS, supports the credibility of the survey.
The onus now lie in the hands of the President, together with all intending contestants aspiring for the leadership of Gambia, to pay heed to what the citizens have said.
Whether voters are dissatisfied with current performance or inclined towards an NPP-led coalition, the final decision rests with the electorate come December 2026. Osman Jata, QTV News.
And before we go on to our next story, we would like to inform viewers that we have a special program at 9 p.m. tonight with a specifically assembled panel, including representatives from major political parties, to discuss the findings of that surprise survey. Now on to the rest of our stories. The World Food Programme, together with the governments of the Gambia and Japan, officially launched an emergency response initiative to safeguard the food and nutrition security of the Gambia's most vulnerable populations. Mam Nabuka has the rest of the story.
In the wake of devastating floods and windstorms that triggered widespread crop failures, the project, titled Emergency Response to Vulnerable Flood-Affected Communities, is a strategic intervention aimed at crisis mitigation, early recovery, and long-term resilience. The initiative focuses on 4 core pillars, including direct food emergency assistance for over 9,000 beneficiaries, specialized nutritional support for 5,000 children and nearly 3,000 pregnant and breastfeeding women, and infrastructure rehabilitation through food assistance for assets. Additionally, a large-scale social behavior change campaign is reaching 50,000 people to improve agricultural and nutritional practices. The Central River, Lower River, and Upper River regions are the targeted areas, as these were the identified places where the lean season typically exacerbates existing poverty. Carl Frederick Paul, the UN resident coordinator speaking on behalf of WFP, shed more light on the initiative.
So you can see here we have the Super Cereal Plus, which has been fortified with soy milk, but also it's a special formula for the children that are growing. So that's one. We have also iodized salt, but also the beans and rice, and most of those ingredients have been produced here in the Republic of the Gambia. So it's a very nice project.
To ensure the aid reaches those in the greatest need, the program prioritizes flood-prone areas, households resorting to negative coping strategies for income generation, female-headed households, widows, orphans, and those living with chronic illnesses or disabilities. Dr. Ahmadulamin Samate, Gambia's Minister of Health, expressed optimism for the impactful change this will bring.
Nutrition remains a significant public health concern in the Gambia. The national figures indicate that approximately 5% of children under 5 are wasted, about 18% are stunted, and nearly 1 in 2 women of reproductive age is affected by anemia. Your continued commitment to food and nutrition security is making a meaningful difference in the lives of the Gambian children and women.
Here are His Excellency Takeshi Akamatsu, Japan's ambassador, and Fatoumata Jassi, a beneficiary.
Japan will continue to strongly support the national goals of the government of the Gambia, that is, strengthening food security and reducing poverty. I also hope that the food and materials provided through this project will represent not only material assistance, but also as a symbol of the deep friendship that lies between the people of the Gambia and Japan.
I must say I have to extend my sincere gratitude to WFP and also the nutrition program under the Ministry of Health. They are really doing well, and this is so much important to us because I felt it is going to benefit my child and it is going to help him in terms of health-wise.
As distribution is rolled out across the Gambia, The project expects to not just provide a temporary fix, but also build a foundation where these communities can better withstand future climate shocks. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News.
Now, the British High Commission in the Gambia, in partnership with GAIPA, on Thursday held a press engagement ahead of the first ever UK-Gambia trade mission scheduled for next month. Ansumana Esonyasi has the details.
The landmark event will be held at the Sadauda Kairaba Jawara International Conference Center in Bijilo on the 2nd and 3rd February 2026. It is expected to convene more than 40 businesses from the United Kingdom and the Gambia, marking a significant milestone in bilateral economic relations between the two countries. A total of 15 delegates representing 13 UK-based companies are expected to participate alongside more than 20 Gambian businesses operating across key sectors of the economy. The mission will provide a platform for business-to-business engagements, networking sessions and discussions focused on expanding trade, encouraging foreign direct investment and unlocking new growth opportunities. The British High Commissioner to the Gambia, Harriet King, emphasized that the initiative reflects the United Kingdom's commitment to supporting private sector development and creating mutually beneficial partnerships that contribute to long-term economic prosperity in both countries.
It will foster partnerships that will drive sustainable economic growth for the Gambia. UK companies and the ones who are coming and others who will potentially be interested down the track will bring expertise, innovation and technology to support the Gambia's development goals. And we really think that investing in the Gambia will mean investing in a future of shared prosperity. So for those reasons, we're really excited about this happening.
Usainu Senghor, the Chief Executive Officer of the Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency, highlighted the mission's potential to deliver tangible economic benefits. He noted that the event will provide microeconomic support for businesses, facilitate meaningful networking opportunities, and promote collaboration across several sectors, with tourism identified as a key area of focus.
We identify and promote opportunities in the Gambia, as well as enhance our understandings of the market dynamics and regulations, foster long-term sustainable economic partnership, provide insights into the Gambian business environment, as well as create a platform for innovative private sector partnership and discuss opportunities, investment opportunities in the Gambia, including the export sector.
Maimouna Jallow, Chief Executive Officer of the Africa Agenda Network, described the UK-Gambia trade mission as the beginning of a new chapter in relations between the two countries. She stressed that beyond trade, the event is expected to promote inclusive, sustainable and long-term economic development while strengthening people-to-people and institutional ties.
Our focus is to showcase investment potentials in the Gambia, in Africa, and development. It's really, really exciting to have this mission in the Gambia. The Gambia is open for business, and this mission is a new chapter in the Gambia-UK economic collaborations.
The UK-Gambia trade mission is expected to lay the foundation for future collaboration, strengthen investor confidence, and position the Gambia as an attractive destination for international business. The UK High Commission and GAIPA say they are optimistic the engagement will lead to concrete partnerships and tangible investment outcomes that benefit both countries. Ansmana Sonyase for KTV News.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have more national, international, as well as sports news stories for you. Do stay tuned.
Good health starts with what is on your plates. That is why the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, and the Ministry of Health have partnered to develop the food-based dietary guidelines to help us meet our nutritional needs, promote health, and prevent disease. Want to boost your health? Add more legumes and nuts to your daily meals. The FAO and the Ministry of Health recommend eating 3 servings every day. Before cooking, sort out any stones or spoiled beans. And remember, do not peel your beans. Cooking them thoroughly reduces any gas-producing effects. Roast or boil nuts well before enjoying them. They are packed with nutrients that support a healthy lifestyle. Make legumes and nuts a part of your daily diet for energy, health, and a balanced meal. Eat legumes and nuts daily. Follow the food-based dietary guidelines for a healthier Gambia.
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. Now to the rest of our stories. The Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly is convening its 2026 Senior Management Strategic Planning Retreat to strengthen leadership efficiency and improve the administrative performance of the Parliament. Aliou Cisse reports.
This planning retreat brings together the National Assembly's senior management and technical staff to reflect, plan and set a clear strategic direction for the Assembly service in 2026. It forms part of broader efforts to enhance governance and ensure the smooth and effective functioning of the National Assembly. Khalifa Mmbai, the clerk of the National Assembly, says the retreat provides a critical space to review collective performance, confront challenges, and identify innovative and collaborative solutions that will better support the legislative process and advance the overall interests of Parliament.
We are consciously shifting from a culture of general progress to one of measurable performance. The year 2026 must be a clear year of consolidation. And I repeat, the 2026 year must be a year of consolidation. I therefore expect every director, head of unit to define clear, time-bound, and of course measurable KPIs for your perspective or respective departments.
He notes that while the institution recorded a significant milestone in 2025, the challenges of limited office space and persistent financial constraints remain, making strategic planning more critical than ever. He commended staff for what he described as exceptional service, professionalism, and dedication throughout 2025, paying special tribute to the Speaker of the National Assembly for his transformative leadership.
The 2025 legislative year marked a defining period for our institution. At its outset, we embraced a bold reform agenda, departing from a business-as-usual approach towards a transformative trajectory as articulated in our strategic plan 2025 to 2029. Among our key achievements, we brought the National Assembly service closer to the Gambian people. Reviving the Social Audit Forum last year, we successfully hosted as well the 54th CPA Africa Region Conference.
As part of the reforms, the National Assembly Service engaged SMD Policy Management Group through an open bidding process to conduct a functional review and develop a comprehensive scheme of service for the various arms of the Parliament. The outcomes of that exercise are expected to be validated during this meeting. Sana M. Dabo, founder and CEO of SMD Policy Management Group, thanked the management and staff of the National Assembly for what he described as strong strategic guidance and cooperation throughout the process.
Instruments are not merely technical documents. I think the Honorable Clerk has alluded to this fact. They are foundational tools for institutional strengthening, professionalism, and sustainable public service delivery. I think service delivery is at the core of what you do.
The Speaker of the National Assembly, Fabakary Tombong Jatta, reminded senior management that the expectations placed on them are high, stressing that effective leadership, unity, and teamwork are not optional but of strategic importance to a functional Parliament.
It is you, the clerk, the senior management team, who ensure that the institution functions seamlessly behind the scenes.
The outcomes of the retreat are expected to strengthen the Assembly's administration, improve internal efficiency, and enhance the National Assembly's crucial role in national governance. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Coming up next, we have international news. Now, Rwanda has launched an international arbitration case against the United Kingdom, claiming it owed £100 million under the now-cancelled Asylum Resettlement Agreement. The move follows the Labour government's decision to scrap the controversial migration deal. Jacqueline Coley tells us more.
For centuries, our United Kingdom has had a proud history of welcoming people from overseas, including many fleeing persecution. My own great-grandfather came from Turkey in fear of his life because our country offered sanctuary for his outspoken journalism. So from today, our new migration and economic development partnership will mean that anyone entering the UK illegally, as well as those who have arrived illegally since January the 1st, may now be relocated to Rwanda. This innovative approach, driven by our shared humanitarian impulse and made possible by Brexit freedoms, will provide safe and legal routes for asylum while disrupting the business model of the gangs.
That was the then British Prime Minister Boris Johnson announcing what became known as the Rwanda deal. Fast forward to 2024, and these were the words of Sir Keir Starmer, the new Prime Minister, the day after his Labour Party won the general elections.
Look, the Rwanda scheme was dead and buried before it started. It's never been a deterrent. Look at the numbers that have come over in the first 6 and a bit months of this year. They're record numbers. That is the problem that we are inheriting. It has never acted as a deterrent, almost the opposite, because everybody has worked out, particularly the gangs that run this, that the chance of ever going to Rwanda was so slim, less than 1%, that it was never a deterrent. The chances were of not going and not being processed and staying here, therefore, in paid-for accommodation for a very, very long time. It's had the complete opposite effect. And I'm not prepared to continue with gimmicks that don't act as a deterrent.
The government of Rwanda is seeking £100 million from the United Kingdom, arguing that London failed to honour financial commitments under the Migration and Economic Development Partnership signed in 2022. The proceeding accused the UK of breaching the treaty. In a statement, Kigali cited what it called Britain's intransigence over outstanding financial obligation. Rwanda claims the UK violated the agreement by publicly disclosing financial details, failing to pay €100 million it says it's due, and refusing to settle a number of vulnerable refugees currently hosted in Rwanda. Rwanda said that in November 2024, the UK asked it to forgo the £50 million payment due in 2025 and 2026. Kigali indicated it was open to renegotiating financial terms if the treaty was formally ended, but discussions did not proceed and the payments remained disputed. The UK government has defended its decision, calling the policy a waste of taxpayer money and vowing to robustly defend its position. Under the treaty, unresolved disputes are referred to the Parliamentary Court of Arbitration in The Hague. The court can issue binding rulings, though cases often take years. The agreement is set to formally terminate on 16 March 2026. The irony of all this is that if the government loses the case, the party which scraped the deal is the one that ends up paying a heavy price for doing so. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jacqueline Colli.
The report there takes us to sports news in a moment. Now, in the aftermath of a dramatic Africa Cup of Nations final, African football's governing body, CAF, has handed out major sanctions to both Senegal and Morocco. Ade Drami has the details.
The final, which saw Senegal crowned champions, was marred by controversy when Senegal's coach, Pape Thiaw, ordered his team off the pitch in protest at the award of a penalty against them. The match was delayed by 17 minutes before play resumed. Brahim Diaz eventually took and missed the penalty, and Senegal went on to win the title with a goal scored by Pape Gueye. Now, following a disciplinary review, CAF has suspended Pape Thiaw for 5 official matches and fined him $100,000 for unsporting conduct and for bringing the game into disrepute. 2 Senegal players, Iliman Ndiaye and Ismaila Sarr, have each received 2 match bans for their behaviour towards the referee. In addition to the fines handed to the players and the coach, Senegal's Football Federation has been hit with multiple fines totaling over $600,000 for poor conduct by players, staff and fans, violation of fair play, integrity and sportsmanship. Meanwhile, the Moroccan Football Federation has also come under fire. Star player Ashraf Hakimi has been handed a 2-match ban with 1 match suspended for a year, while Ismail Saibari received a 3-match suspension and a $100,000 fine. CAF also penalized Morocco's federation $315,000 for incidents including the invasion of the VAR area by players and staff, including attempts to snatch towels of goalkeepers in 2 matches, and the disruptive behavior of supporters using lasers during matches. Finally, a protest lodged by Morocco over Senegal's conduct was reviewed and rejected by the CAF disciplinary board. Morocco had sought to have the title either seized from Senegal or have the match replayed. The incident marks one of the most heavily sanctioned finals in AFCON history, casting a shadow of what should have been a celebration of African football excellence. For Morocco, despite recording record viewing figures, it has caused some to question their co-hosting with Spain and Portugal of the 2030 World Cup. For QTV News, I am Ade Darami.
The report there by Ade Drame brings us to the end of this news bulletin, but before we go, here is a recap of the headlines. The Center for Policy Research and Strategic Studies, CEPRAS, in partnership with the National Endowment for Democracy, has released its latest national opinion poll on public perceptions of democracy and governance ahead of the country's December 2026 presidential election. The World Food Programme and the Gambia government and Japan launched an emergency response initiative to safeguard the food and nutrition security of the Gambia's most vulnerable populations. And the British High Commission in the Gambia, in partnership with GAIPA, today held a press engagement ahead of the first ever UK-Gambia trade mission scheduled for next month. And in international news, Rwanda has launched an international arbitration case against the United Kingdom, claiming it owed £100 million under a now-cancelled asylum resettlement agreement. And in sports news, in the aftermath of a dramatic Africa Cup of Nations final, African football's governing body, CAF, has handed down significant sanctions to both Senegal and Morocco. And just a reminder that at 9 p.m. tonight, we have a special panel discussion on our lead story, the CEPRAS poll survey on voters' intentions for this year's presidential election. Until then, do join us again at 10:30 p.m. for another news bulletin. Thank you for watching.